The WNBA is cringe. I didn't think it could get any cringer, but it certainly has. See, Caitlin Clark, the star, celebrity, probably the most famous WNBA player ever, just gets mercilessly beaten.
I'm starting to think Caitlin Clark should just leave the WNBA and start her own new pro league. May sound crazy, but if I could buy stock in Caitlin or the rest of the WNBA without her, I'm buying Caitlin Clark stock over the entire WNBA. Combined without her, tweeted Clay Travis, Tuesday night's incident wasn't just another hard foul. It was the breaking point that has ignited a firestorm across social media, with thousands of fans demanding that Caitlin Clark walk away from the league that seems determined to dim her shine. The question that's echoing through every basketball forum, every sports talk show, and every corner of the internet is haunting: has the WNBA's treatment of Caitlin Clark crossed a line that can never be uncrossed?
Not being up to snuff. Like they need to catch up to a league that is getting more intense and physical to keep this somewhat in the rails here, because I mean, we're not looking for roller derby here.
The sequence of events that unfolded during the Indiana Fever's matchup against the Connecticut Sun will be remembered as one of the most controversial moments in recent WNBA history, with the Fever leading 54-45 in the third quarter. What started as competitive basketball quickly escalated into something far more sinister.
Muscling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected.
JACY Sheldon, Clark's former Big Ten rival, delivered a blow to Clark's eye that sent shockwaves through the arena as Clark reeled from the initial contact. Still processing what had just happened, Connecticut's Marina Mabry delivered what can only be described as a devastating blow that sent the league's most recognizable face crashing to the floor.
I don't know if that initial face hit was intentional. Actually, it does kind of look intentional. It looks like this chick reaches her hand up and whacks her in the face. And then she goes, "Ah, my eye." And then this chick body checks her.
The technical details tell only part of the story. Clark, Mabry, and Tina Charles were each assessed technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant one for her role in the incident. No players were ejected, a decision that has sparked outrage among those who believe the officiating in the WNBA has failed to protect its biggest star.
We're all sitting here watching this. We've got the most important player in sports right now, a historic player coming off an incredibly historic game, and you've got these assholes blowing it, refereeing in a bogus game. So if they're not corrupt, then they're incompetent. Why? It's making me crazy.
This wasn't an isolated incident. It was the culmination of a pattern that has been building since Clark stepped foot in the WNBA. From her very first game, she has been subjected to a level of physical intimidation that seems to go beyond the normal intensity of professional basketball. During a matchup, Stephanie Dolson appeared to perform a slashing arm move that struck Clark's arm. No foul was called. Observers and fans pointed to it as another example of aggressive physicality going unpunished. Asterisk remember the flagrant foul by Chennedy Carter early in Clark's rookie season? The cheap shot that sent Clark sprawling and sparked the first wave of controversy about how she was being treated. Or the numerous instances where opponents have gone out of their way to deliver hard fouls, trash talk, and physical intimidation that would make even the most seasoned NBA veterans take notice.
Dude, WNBA, basically it's turning into like low-grade UFC.
The irony is suffocating. Here is a player who has single-handedly transformed the landscape of women's basketball, bringing unprecedented attention, viewership, and revenue to a league that desperately needed all three, yet instead of being celebrated, protected, and showcased as the generational talent she clearly is, Clark has been treated like an unwelcome intruder in her own house. The fan reaction to Tuesday night's incident has been swift and unforgiving. Social media exploded with calls for Clark to abandon the WNBA entirely. The sentiment is captured perfectly in the words of one frustrated fan: "In all honesty, Caitlin Clark should leave the WNBA and get investors and open up her own league." Fuck the WNBA. Another fan's comment cuts even deeper. The WNBA is a joke. They get a player who actually brings eyeballs to the league, and they treat her like shit, and the league is too scared to do effing thing. Clark should bail now. Go to any other league XKS a record price and watch that shit basketball league die. These aren't just emotional outbursts from casual fans. These are calculated assessments from people who have watched Clark's journey. From her record-breaking college career at Iowa to her current status as the face of professional women's basketball, they've seen her handle adversity with grace, respond to criticism with performance, and elevate everyone around her through sheer force of will and talent. The financial reality makes the situation even more absurd. Clark is currently earning less than $80,000 in WNBA salary while generating millions in endorsement deals and bringing exponentially more value to the league than she receives in compensation. The Big Three League might offer her $5 million to join their ranks.
This is a stupid game. The WNBA is a stupid league, and they should be ashamed of themselves, and they are a disgrace to sports.
That loyalty is now being tested in ways that no player should have to endure. Every game brings the possibility of another incident, another moment where competitive basketball crosses the line into something more dangerous. Clark returned to action just 2 weeks ago after dealing with an injury, only to find herself once again on the receiving end of treatment that has fans questioning whether the league can protect its most valuable asset. The coaching response has been telling as well. Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White didn't mince words when she eviscerated WNBA officials after Tuesday night's game.
Their job is hard. Their job is hard, right? Their job is hard. The game has changed so much. Everybody's getting better, except the officials. So we got to find a way to remedy it.
Her frustration was palpable, the frustration of someone who has watched her star player absorb punishment that seems to go beyond the normal physical demands of professional basketball. Even tennis legend Chris Evert felt compelled to speak out, calling out WNBA players for their treatment of Clark. When will these ladies realize, accept, and appreciate is the best thing that ever happened to women's basketball? Evert wrote on X, "This is a bad look for the sport and what's happened to sportsmanship." When athletes from other sports begin to notice and comment on the pattern, it becomes clear that this isn't just an internal basketball issue, it's become a broader conversation about respect, fairness, and the responsibility that comes with being guardians of the game. The deeper tragedy in all of this is what it represents for women's basketball as a whole. Clark didn't just arrive in the WNBA as another talented rookie. She came as a transformational figure, someone who had the rare combination of skill, charisma, and marketability to elevate the entire sport. Her college career at Iowa was must-see television, drawing audiences that rivaled major men's sporting events. Her transition to the professional level was supposed to be the next chapter, that story of growth and success.
As to why the media and the WNBA just mismanaged the situation the way that they did, because I do actually think if just think in an alternate world.
Instead, what we've witnessed is a systematic attempt to diminish her impact, to treat her as just another player when she clearly represents something much more significant. The pattern of physical intimidation, the lack of adequate protection from officials, and the general atmosphere of hostility has created an environment where the league's biggest star is constantly looking over her shoulder instead of being free to showcase the talents that made her special in the first place.
So if you're going to call it tight, then that means call it tight on both ends. If we touch them, then you call a foul. If they touch us, you call a foul. Or call it tough and let everybody beat each other up. And so you swallow the whistle and you let the physicality play. So for me, I really would prefer them to just let us beat each other up.
The calls for Clark to leave the WNBA aren't just about protecting one player. They're about sending a message that the league's current approach is unsustainable. If the WNBA cannot or will not protect its most valuable asset, if it continues to allow a culture where targeting and intimidation are accepted as normal, then perhaps that asset would be better served elsewhere. The alternatives are real and attractive. International leagues offer better compensation and potentially more respectful treatment. Exhibition Tour could provide the platform for Clark to continue showcasing her talents without subjecting herself to the physical and emotional toll of a league that seems determined to undermine her success. The Big Three offer demonstrates that. Other basketball entities recognize her value and are willing to compensate her accordingly, but the nuclear option, Clark leaving the WNBA, would be catastrophic for the league. The viewership would plummet, the sponsorship deals would dry up, the momentum that has been building for women's professional basketball would evaporate overnight. The WNBA would be left to confront the reality that they had the golden goose and chose to kill it rather than nurture it. What happened on Tuesday night wasn't just another hard foul, a physical game. It was a referendum on the WNBA's values, its priorities, and its commitment to protecting the players who have elevated the league to unprecedented heights. The incident has crystallized all the frustrations that have been building since Clark entered the league. All the questions about whether the WNBA deserves the gift it has been given. The fan outcry is more than just emotional reaction, it's a warning. The people who tune in to watch Clark play, who buy tickets to see her perform, who purchase merchandise with her name on it, are the same people who are now questioning whether they want to continue supporting a league that seems determined to destroy what they came to see. The stakes couldn't be higher. Clark represents more than just one player's career. She represents the future of women's basketball, the potential for the sport to reach heights that seemed impossible just a few years ago. The way the WNBA handles this situation will determine whether the potential is realized or squandered. As Clark picked herself up off the floor Tuesday night, brushing off the impact and preparing to continue playing, she embodied the resilience that has defined her career. But even the strongest person has limits. Even the most dedicated athlete has a breaking point. The question that haunts every WNBA fan, every supporter of women's basketball, and every person who believes in fairness and respect is simple: how much more should she be expected to endure? The answer may determine not just Clark's future, but the future of the league itself. Because if the WNBA loses Caitlin Clark, it doesn't just lose a player. It loses its soul, its momentum, and quite possibly its future. The time for change isn't tomorrow or next season. It's now, before the most important player in league history decides that her talents and her dignity are worth more than what the WNBA has to offer. The clock is ticking and the choice is clear. The only question is whether the WNBA will make the right decision before it's too late. Should Caitlin Clark leave the WNBA? What do you think about it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.